G'day folks, Uncle Dean here out in the big shop again. We've got another repair to bring you today. Thought I'd bring you along as we do this. We're replacing a lawn tractor tire. We're replacing actually putting an inner tube in the tire. It's going flat from dry rot. Okay, so there's a dust cap that's on these that you need to pull off first. Easiest way to do it is a pair of pliers. Pop that off. Then you have a special lock ring that's on here that's got to come off. I usually do that with a screwdriver because it's easier. So you have a little clip in here called the U-clip. I use a screwdriver to just pop that off. That's a U-clip. We set that in our little dust cap over there. You'll have a washer. Then you'll be able to slide out the tire. So there is one tire ready for repair. We're going to pop over to the workbench here. But as you can see on the, you can't really see it on the tire here, but we've got some dry rot up in the sides that are starting to cause the leak. We'll show a little more when we get it over on the bench. So the first thing we need to do is break the bead on the tire. Now the bead on the tire is where the tire meets the rim, which is right here. So one of the easiest ways to do that is to just step on it. Now sometimes they'll come off easy, sometimes not so much. Now you always want to break out, when you break the bead off, because we're not taking the entire rim out, you want to break it off on the side that your valve stem is on. This is the valve stem. So now that that's broken off of there, that'll be pretty easy to work with. Alright, so put that up on the bench. So we've got it up on the bench now. We have broken the bead off, like I said earlier. Now you do have on these quite a bit of space to try and get a tire in there. Now what is suggestible is to pop the tire itself off of the rim. Just half of it is all you really need to do. Easiest way to do that is with two pry bars. So what you do is you're going to get the pry bar between that and the tire. So you can see how that looks over here, and then we'll be putting it back on kind of in the same way. So what you want to do is use two bars and work them together to get that tire off. Now some people will use shorter screwdrivers and different things. I find the two longer bars, the one bar holds it, as you can see, and then I can just work it around with the other bar. As I go, keep turning the tire, and voila, off she pops. Now you can see some of that dry rot I was talking about here. It results in cracking in the tire. Now that we have that off, we can see the condition of the rim on the inside. So you always want to have a look at the rim on the inside, look for any rough spots, anything that might cause an issue or cut into the tire or into your new inner tube. Everything seems to look good on that. So the next thing we need to do is remove the valve stem. When we go to remove the valve stem, that will also do the job. See, utility knife, cut off the inside, and you pull out the valve stem from there. Voila, that's done. This here is the inner tube. So with the inner tube, on the bigger ones it's easier to see, but what you get is, and you want to make sure that your valve stem goes in the hole when you put it on, and that lines up as you work your tire on there. Now these ones here, this particular model that we've purchased, to do this actually gives a nice little nut here that is threaded down the valve stem. Some of them do, some of them don't. This is just a nice little feature because it gives you a nut, so when you put this together, you tighten that nut up from the outside. It stops it from falling to the inside of the tire when you put it together. Set that aside. So now what you want to do is work your inner tube around the rim. So now it's on the rim, as you can see. And now what we need to do is we need to line up our valve stem and ensure it goes in the hole. We take our little nut, find the valve stem, somehow get that started on there. Just currently pretending like I don't have it right. There we go. Now when you first put it on, you don't have to super snug it down in there. Uh-oh. That when this valve stem was originally put in on this tube, it wasn't put in tight. So I will have to deal with that one too in a minute. Okay, now our next thing here is to get this inner tube stuffed to the inside of the tire. So you'll slowly work your way around as you squeeze that down and in. Whichever way you can. Alright, so that's the basics of inserting the tubes. The tube's now on the inside. You want to have a quick peek, make sure it all kind of laid itself out flat. So we've now put it on the floor in order to get it back on again. You got to be careful when you do this that you're not getting in the you don't step on your inner tube or wreck your inner tube in the process. So what you want to do is you want to use your foot to hold down the tire so it's underneath. You use your pry bars and work your way around slowly. As with all things, you're just taking slow steps at it, and it'll come. As you can see, you just slowly work your way around. The bigger bars I find make it easier than using small bars. You just keep working it, and voila, there we go. So the bigger bar just gives you more pry room. And that extra pry room just makes it a whole lot simpler to get that on there. So our next step, now that we have this back together again, is tighten down that nut. Now if you don't have that nut, what is really suggestible for people when you're installing these is to use a pair of vice grips gently on your valve stem so it doesn't fall back inside. So we'll throw some air in that and we're all done. You pump these up to about 10 pounds pressure. This here actually took me about 15 minutes to do the job. So not a bad job, back together. And we pop that back on the lawnmower. Thank you for joining us today. I hope this was informational and helps you do your own repairs. We enjoyed having you along. If you enjoyed the video, please click the like button. Please click the subscribe button. And stay safe, be good, behave yourself.